passion. So we get the drive, right? We're like, man, I'm motivated, man. Like, it's like after you go to one of
Yes,
those like
sir.
motivational speeches, like, I'm motivated, man. Like, I can do anything right now. That's how I felt last week. I went to a motivational speech. His name was Jefferson Ferguson. His company's Get Hit. He just gave an amazing motivational speech. But it's like, you motivated. Where you gonna
going?
go?
Yeah. Where you going, bro?
Where you going?
Yeah, so if drive is our motor, goals, this is our next step. Goals is how we steer, okay? And
I like it. He's been doing Longhorn racing. Everything is tied to cars now.
let's talk about why goals work for a second before we jump in on how to make them. Kind of going back to this whole idea, we talked about this before. Your brain conserves energy, right? Yeah. Your brain wants to conserve energy, and that's just from a biological standpoint of evolution. You know, it helps us survive, whatever. But with that, when we're doing things, if we don't have a clear idea of why we're doing things or of what we're doing, our brain is going to do the least amount of work possible to do whatever you think you're supposed to be doing, right? But if you have a clear goal that gives you clarity on what you're doing and why you're doing it, your brain will complete that task, even if it takes more energy than you might think, when you might do if you didn't have a goal, right? But that clarity gives you very good directed energy to achieve that goal and helping and propelling you towards success. So that's like kind of like an evolutionary standpoint of why goals work. And also there's a ton of research. And goals give you clarity, which allows you to direct all of your energy in a focused manner to achieve what you want to do.
And the way to add to what Ben says, he puts it perfectly, but to kind of elaborate is like your brain, like when you have a goal, right, your brain will use that goal as a filter. So when you have that straight goal, you will, like, your brain will know, like, okay, well, this information or this thing I'm thinking about, this isn't helping towards that goal. Like, move forward. And so it makes it a lot easier for you to get somewhere. But setting goals is not easy
at all.
It's not an easy thing. Like, you know, people are like, just set goals, and people put, well, I just want to, you know, become rich.
Okay.
That's okay. Everybody want to become. I don't know someone that's like, damn, I just want to be poor today.
Facts.
I just want to be, unless you're just one of those travelers. You're like, I'm a nomadic traveler. But how do we set goals? What is the framework that sets goals for us?
So according to Kotler's research, he identifies a kind of, you need 3 levels of goals. Being like the highest level is very broad, and then the lowest level is very narrow. And so let's go over the highest level is your massive transformative purpose. Okay.
And I think the way he explained this, because we touched on how to do it, but your massive transformative purpose is, it's not per se it's not a goal, obviously, because it's a purpose,
right?
But it's like,
it's more like a mission statement.
Yeah, it's more like, what is your, like, it's the direction that you want to take your entire life.
Yeah.
It's like, it's not anything you will ever reach, but it's where you want to take your life. It's kind of where, like, when you die, what will people remember you by? And that's how I view it. That's not what he said at all.
Yeah.
But like, that's kind of the way you would look at it. It's not anything that's ever really going to be achieved, but it's what drives where you go each and every single day.
Right. And I think that's correct when you say it might not ever be achieved, but that also might not be correct. I'm not 100% sure. But you're definitely correct in saying, like, it is a very broad idea of where you want to go. It is not meant to be like, this is exactly what you're going to do and how you're going to do it.
Let me say, may or may not. That's what I meant. And then 2, he did say that, like, I'm referencing that part, a part about when you die being remembered. I don't know. He didn't say that. That's my own interpretation. But he did say, like, the way you would want to view it is like, this may not be something you ever achieve in your lifetime, but it is something that you always are working towards.
Right. And so let's give an example of a massive transformative goal. And then, do you want me to give an example? Okay. So the easiest example, is kind of a basic one, is just to discover sustainable solutions to end world hunger. That's the one he gave in the book. But you kind of see how, is someone who has that goal, will they end world hunger? Probably not, right? Like, most likely, no. But you can see that there's a very clear direction in what they're trying to do in life. The sustainable, like, discover sustainable solutions to end world hunger. Okay. Now, obviously, that's still pretty broad, right? But it is narrow enough to give direction. All right. And that direction, what you do with that is from there, you're going to bring it down to your second level, what we call high hard goals.
And I actually want to go back. I guess I'll give
Okay, go
mine
ahead.
because I know Ben looked at me like, "You want to share yours?" I was like, okay, let's give a personal one here. And this is kind of what I mentioned before, but mine is simply to help the Black community around the world become wealthier by promoting financial literacy, entrepreneurship, and cultivate open-minded individuals that adopt a growth mindset. So part of that is hopefully being done with the podcast, and another part of that will be done whenever I am able to reach my other high hard goals here. So can you explain that?
Yeah, so your high hard goals are these. So just to reference the massive transformative purpose, that timeline is your entire horizon, your entire life. I had horizon on my mind, but
Yeah.
your high hard goals, the timeline for that is going to be 1 to 5 years. Ideally, probably 1 to 3 years, just because, especially at this point in the world, life is so unpredictable and things are changing at such a rapid pace that it's very difficult to predict what's going to happen. But anyways, continuing, these are goals that are they're within your reach, but they push you right within a 1 to 3, really 1 to 5 year timeline towards your massive transformative purpose. Okay, and so kind of going off of the example from the massive transformative purpose, the example here is create a nonprofit that uses insect-based proteins to feed the world in a more sustainable fashion. Okay, so our massive transformative purpose was discover sustainable solutions to end world hunger, and that was our high hard goal.
Man, you can't do that on the people because like the whole insect part. Because if you read the book, you would understand why he used insect-based proteins. Because that probably threw so many people off. But no,
that's part of the sustainable part of the world hunger.
No,
of like
it's because in another he talked about like someone's curiosity might be like how grasshoppers could be used as food, and so that's why the insect comes into there. But I think to give one our high
give one that's better than my example.
No, yours was good. Yours was good. He used it from the book. But to give one that's with both of us here is this podcast. And I mean, in terms of mine has to do specifically by community, but overall our purpose in this is to help educate you guys, help you guys be continuously lifelong learners, and hopefully help you optimize your life so you can, spend more time on what you really want to do,
right,
and do things better and faster. And so like our high hard goal here is we hopefully eventually want to get this podcast to 100,000 subscribers, and that's something that's not like easy doing. Like on YouTube, very hard podcast. Like, why would you guys want to listen to us? We're young, kids.
We're just kids.
Yeah, but so that's an example of a goal, and do that. Now there's specific things we need to do each and every single day to reach those goals.
And just to quote him, because it's very quotable, he says that impossible is a checklist. Okay, and this is how you make your checklist. So the last level is your clear goals. Okay, so we have our massive goals, we have our high hard goals, and then our clear goals. These are going to be goals that you execute on a daily basis. Okay, this is your checklist. So kind of continuing to go off of, well, not really, just to give an example, a clear goal would be write 500 words between 8 a.m. and 10 a.m. Okay, mm-hmm. That is very clear. It gives you a time frame. It gives you an action. There's a clear end point, right? You know when you're done, right? And somehow that should be tied into your high hard goal. Usually these are goals that are kind of automated, so you're probably doing that writing every single day. What you're writing for depends on obviously your massive transformative purpose and your high hard goal.
Mm-hmm. And one thing he stresses so much: to do the impossible, you need to be doing things consistently every single day. Yeah. And another reason why he says this is small wins, and we've talked about this before, but small wins reinforce your drive. Yep. You're doing these things every single day. You check that off your checklist. Like, yeah, I wrote my 500 pages. That's going to continue to motivate. That's going to release dopamine. Right. He goes deeper into the chemicals of it, and you guys should 100% read the book because
it's a great book.
It makes a lot of sense. It makes a lot of sense in how it is, especially when you have a bit of a background and understanding of dopamine. But consistency is out of every single thing. Yeah, consistency is the most important. If you are not consistent, then you will not reach them.